There we are. We got another edition of TigerBait Live tonight. 1 week away from LSU football players reporting next Wednesday. Practice will start on August 4th on Thursday. We've got a Bayou Splash recruiting event at LSU on Friday. Recruits are starting to message me that they're coming. There's going to be other players on campus throughout the weekend, not just on Friday, I'm told, including an offensive lineman that's of importance. And so we've got a lot of that going on. Gavin Dugas says he's coming back for LSU baseball. And I don't know if you guys saw the tweet, and those of you who are subscribers of TigerBait, I sent out a text alert at a little after 6. Flaugier was featured on ABC News tonight, worldwide, and it was fantastic. It was an unbelievable feature that they did on her. I'm telling you, the thing probably had been at least 10 minutes. And so that was really a nice deal for Kim Mulkey and her program, talking about Flaugier and her rap career, her beginnings, her family coming to Baton Rouge, and the timing of her and NIL at the exact time when she signed a scholarship with LSU. So hopefully ABC loads that up to their channel, and then those of you who missed it get to see it later, because I thought it was really well done and puts LSU in a very much a positive light. And I really can't wait to see what that girl brings to the program this fall and winter. But welcome in, Buddy. Buddy Songy.
Good to see you, Mike Scarborough. Hope everybody doing well, wrapping up vacation. Kids, some of you sleeping till 9:30, 10 in the morning. Guess what? School is upon us. LSU football upon us. I ask this question figuratively, Mike, often during the dog days of summer and wrapping up July. Why is LSU football, Southern football, and the Saints football, along with high school football that have kids playing at the high school level, why is it so gripping? Why do we care so much about who's going to be the place kicker, the quarterback, the center, whatever? And it's just a Louisiana thing. And Brian Kelly, one of his last opportunities to meet with the media, unfortunate. If you are a golfer, and Coach Kelly, I hope you take this the right way, but if you're a golfer, you don't want to slice or hit a fade. And unfortunately, he's actually said this a couple times, had a little TikTok video with his daughter, Grace Kelly. They're loving Baton Rouge. She's playing a lot of golf, but he goes today to the Baton Rouge Rotary Club, and speaking to them, he had a case of pink eye. I looked at the picture. The right eye is about half shut. So,
but I do say I think the glasses look good on him.
Oh, he looks cool. He looks like he's lost weight. He's loving it. The 3 F's we talked about: football, family, and food. And so I think those people that I talked to at the Rotary Club, though, he was not 100% physical. And now everybody getting in the office, starting to brainstorm, players wrapping up. It is the calm before the storm, and I am excited as can be, man.
I'm absolutely excited. You guys laugh. I've told Buddy this and a few others. I think I actually get depressed in July because there's nothing going on sports-wise. And, man, but once this gets started next week, and I'm balls to the wall. I just hope what have we maybe had one out of the last 3 or 4 years? We haven't had an end of August or a September full of rain or storms. And I just knock on wood. I hope we avoid all that. Last year we were all set to do our practice reports, brought to you by Bart Smokey, our good friend. And 2/3 of them were rained out. And because of COVID, if they went indoors, if you guys remember, we weren't allowed to go. The media wasn't allowed indoors. But and so I think that's part of the reason that the number of practices they had to practice indoors. Going to Houston that first week, we had Brian Kelly mentioned last week that having watched the UCLA tape, LSU didn't have their legs. There was some multiple factors there, but it's going to be a whole new thing. I can't wait to see how he operates some things. Guys, do me a favor if you are in the show and we got a bunch of you in here already. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, and that notification bell. But again, if you're enjoying the show, you really help us with the algorithm on YouTube, especially. If you hit the like button, it makes it so that our show gets recommended to other topics that are of similar interest. So not a lot of guys like to get in a YouTube rabbit hole, and we really want our TigerBait show to get be in that recommended file. Show, of course, brought to you each and every week by Pride Roofing. Alex Martinez, Mike Faraday, we couldn't do it without them. And we're just really proud of our partnership with those guys. TigerBait, the official roofing company of TigerBait, saw last week new vehicles, new wraps. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the new Pride trucks around, and they're just growing exponentially, getting bigger in Lafayette, of course, huge on the North Shore, bigger in Baton Rouge, anywhere from Orange, Texas, to Gulfport, Biloxi, all the way up to Jackson, Mississippi, all the way up to Alexandria. Commercial or residential, you're going to want to talk to Pride Roofing. We'll talk a little bit more about them. But let me get to a bunch of the comments. We're 6 minutes of the show, and a bunch of you guys have already stacking up. Aaron Long, this is one of my favorite LSU shows. You guys do a great job. Very much thank you for the kind words, Aaron. Sherry Berry, let's go. Nurse Court, hey, guys. Edward O got the crabs. Come on, Mike, let's go. Best show on our Tigers. We thank you. And he's glad that Buddy doesn't have a date tonight. That's his next comment. Aaron Long, do you think the coaches already know who they think will start at quarterback? How can they split reps with 3 to 4 quarterbacks through fall camp? Where do they go, Buddy? A week and a half, 2 weeks, where they try to make it somewhat reasonable, carving it up in quarters?
Yeah, by the way, since, of course, we've been here last, LSU was voted 5th in the West on the media. I said 3, you said 4th. We both think that's going to be a positive. LSU's going to be underrated going into year one. Incredibly.
Brian Kelly was dancing a jig when he saw the 5.
But 22 years ago when Saban came in here, there were some similarities. They played Mississippi State, they played Tennessee, and they played UAB. Of course, they lost to UAB in homecoming, beat Mississippi State and Tennessee in overtime. They're playing all those teams this year in Tiger Stadium. And look, we talk about the underrated role. We talk about the LSU fans going to the beaches in Florida and getting the sand kicked up on the purple and gold beach towel. You got to bring it on. You got to love being the underdog.
Oh, absolutely.
But back to this quarterback, I was a little surprised he wasn't hammered more about that on SEC Media Days. Oh, by the way, guy asked him today about quarterbacks and says, we have plenty of them. How many times do we have to say? Only time will tell if this is a positive or negative, but you've got 3 practices before you can get into full pads. So you're probably going to have one scrimmage second week practice, 6 or 7, and maybe another one. And then after that point, you got to pick 2 and start to, plan your offense about what those guys do best. A lot of people think Brennan and Daniels will get the first reps.
Look, there's a whole
because of the experience.
There's a whole underground movement of people think that it's Nussmeier all the way.
Well, we'll see once we get out there if we have access. Not that we can tell, but we will see a few reps. But you still have a lot of questions.
Who had the better summer?
None of us know.
That's
by the way,
that's where the Nussmeier stuff's coming from.
I got to give props to my girl, Mike. They're releasing the new weights and heights. And Nurse Court said, I'm hearing Jaden Daniels is 205. And you and I said, oh, come on. Only a talk show host can gain 15 or 20 pounds.
Didn't I get it out of him? What did he say, 176?
No, 185 is what they listed him, okay?
But he wasn't.
I don't know. I didn't ever get on the scale with him. But my point is that he's now listed at 6'3", 200. He told me Walker Howard could get to 195. That's where he's at. Nussmeier's at 194. And Miles Brennan has lost 10 pounds to 225. So, as you alluded to, one of the first questions Coach Kelly will field is who did the things they were supposed to do as a quarterback, as a leader, as a guy that throws. There were rumors and innuendos that Jaden Daniels and some of the guys out in California. Other rumors and innuendos that other guys. So they're all on the same page, but I do agree with you. 2 weeks into the camp, we'll probably have a better idea.
LSU has such an advantage. I know just because I just think it's unbelievable. That nutrition center right downstairs around the corner from their meeting rooms and having all that food, the quality of the proteins. Professional athletes don't have that. What NFL team has something like that? They're on their own. When you factor in the groceries that you would have, the dollar amounts that you would have to spend to prepare those meals for yourself, and with inflation right now, and you got guys like Jaden Daniels who possibly could have gained 20 pounds since he's gotten here, I mean, that's just.
Well, it only was 15 from spring weight to this.
Well, if
weight.
he's 205, I think it's.
But no, they listed him at 200.
Okay.
And you can weigh 197 and then eat and be 200. But my point is that it does seem like we will see that. I looked at him. He's got skinny legs. When we interviewed him, he got skinny legs. So if he got up 15 pounds, it's all up here and got some Scarborough guns to go with it.
Yeah.
But the point is that none of us know exactly the charisma, the relationship. They all seem like they want to get along. I'm talking about the 4 QBs. You can't put Walker Howard as a starting quarterback this year because he hadn't played a down of college football. And him and his daddy, Jamie, understand more than likely, unless there's injuries, he's going to redshirt. So now we're down to 3. Nussmeier had the great spring game, and then you got the 2 guys that have experience. So it's not just that. Who's going to be your center? Your center and your quarterback both touch at every play. Those are the kind of things that we'll be looking at when we go out to practice.
Absolutely. Rick Cloetti, good evening, Mike and Buddy. Go Tigers. Let me scroll down, guys. I'm going to get through a lot of these. Chris English, another let's go. LGZ, what's up, fellas? Big weekend this weekend. Tyree Adams, Kai Preen, Kyle Parker, the running back from the Houston area, is coming in. That's interesting. LSU's got 2 running back commitments. Usually you start having issues when you try to take 3. I know when he came down for his spring game, for LSU spring game, there was some rumors out there that he was wanting to commit. So that's really interesting. I don't know that it's provocative or what that is, but Trey Holly's going to be there. I haven't talked to Caleb yet, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be there. So you've got the Bayou Splash on Friday, and then you're going to still have guys coming in. And then after the weekend, you get to next week, football players report. I'm proud to say that I've never gone in the 25 years I've been doing this. I've never gone and stood on the sidewalk and watched a guy unload a mini refrigerator out of the back of a pickup truck at Broussard Hall. I've never done it.
But most of the TV guys do because
they're already there.
I know. They're already there, but they want to see what people look like. You don't remember when Jaquelin Roy and Jarvis Green and all the guys, look, they're coming in and they're bringing the weights and, whoa, man, look at it. It's just.
These guys got to see media guys doing it and say, what do you mean, guys? I was just here yesterday. I walked down this sidewalk yesterday. You could have come and done it. That just doesn't exist. So when they say they report, I don't know if there's anything inside the building, because when the NCAA starts counting days. But then Thursday, and of course, that same day, Jaden Osbury is going to announce his college choice, UI linebacker. Is it Notre Dame, Texas A&M, where? Auburn? Who all's in the mix? I don't believe it's LSU.
Shout out to Jacoby and Gilry's hell of a summer, lost 20 pounds down to about 310, 315. And Anthony Bradford also lost a good 20, 365 last year. Too much weight, was hurt. He will be in the mix. Remember, Garrett Dellinger was hurt. Remember, Marlon Martinez was hurt in the spring. Mike, that center position on that offensive line. Remember when Brian Kelly said we put Will Campbell at left tackle and everything fell into place? I think they're hoping when they put the right guy at center, and it may be Turner, but there are going to be some guys giving him competition. If you can get that to fit like a glove, then you can start putting Emory Jones and other backups that have experience and try to get to 2 deep. Brian Kelly said today he's not down on the offensive line. He thinks that they have enough size and potential. Year 2 in Brad Davis should be a little more smoother than last year.
I just believe, and it's growing. I just think they are going to run the football against Florida State. They're going to want to show that offensive line can get it done. And I don't know if it's going to look stubborn at times or maybe it's going to look easy at times. But I think he absolutely wants to establish a running game. I don't know if it's going to be 50-50 or 65-35 run versus pass. But I think they're going to want to run the football. And I think he's going to – that is such a point of contention for him. And not only that, I think he wants to have something on tape to show some of the offensive linemen out there.
Great point, in case you missed it. Brian Kelly has played Notre Dame at the start of the season the last 3 to 4 years. He knows the personnel. He knows what Mike Norvell has been running. Everybody's lamenting the fact that, of course, Florida State picked up Duquesne the week before. So, you hear the old adage, you improve the most from game 1 to game 2. They'll get the kinks out. But having that familiarity with Florida State, I think, will be advantage. Then you play in the Superdome on a Sunday night. I like LSU's chances.
And I really do want to see John Emery have the year that we all think he can have.
No doubt about it. And Noah Cain, who I disrespected last week. I'm going to apologize because I did it, but I'm going to do it again tonight. We try to get stats, but Noah Cain has 14 rushing touchdowns. And look, he could be that load inside the red zone.
Thinking of buying a home or refinancing your current mortgage but haven't found a lender you can trust? Let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine, someone who many of my friends have used over and over for their mortgage needs. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is absolutely unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer, ready to buy a new home, or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And please, please tell her you heard about her right here on TigerBait.com, NMLS number 104765. Equal housing opportunity, 70876. Just got new info today that they're going to be raising rates again. So if you're having to move or, you just find a deal on a home you just can't pass up, you're going to want to deal with her. She's going to get your closing on time, and she is the absolute best.
Consummate professional, $1 million smile, very meticulous, and congratulations once again for her. And tying the knot here in the last month or so.
Absolutely. Bill Ferrer, 5th is a joke. Let's be real, 2nd or 3rd. Yeah, but BK likes that 5th. I think he loves it. Let's see what we got here.
Did some stat prep work again for the show, folks, and I know that last year is not normal, but Mike, I got some interesting tidbits about what LSU fans have seen for the last 2 years. And look, all of a sudden, it's not going to be the same thing. You don't have the same football players. You're going to have 50% new starters with the 22 team this year.
Nurse Court, she's happy Miles has lost a few.
Yeah.
What is he down from?
He's from 235 to 2 1/4. So that's 10 pounds.
So as I said, he's down from 2 bowls of blue belt to 1.
Hey, listen, I don't think that any of us are going to care about him on the scale. The question is, can he use that big arm for a weapon? Can he have better pocket presence? Can he be a leader? And a lot of guys are saying that, coaches and players. And the question for Brian Kelly, he's played 2 quarterbacks before, but has he ever had 3 that he's had to decide on in a 2-week period? That is what makes this all problematic. Because you are going to, if Miles Brennan offense as a starter is certainly different play calling from Jaden Daniels or Grant Nussmeier as a starter.
Lars Corville, old high school classmate. Miles Brennan can't stay healthy. Well, we're going to find out.
Gonna be something he's got to prove this year.
Let's see. Danny girl, Buddy, yes. Not enough people talking about or paying attention to the center issue. Look, I think a lot of people just think because of the influx of defensive backs that the defensive backfield is going to have all the answers. That's still a question mark for me.
Well, and that's why it's so hard to project and predict. Now, look, we saw them in spring, and we saw Mekhi Garner and Jared Bernard Converse look pretty good on the outside. Of course, Converse got hurt. We saw Brooks and Fouché look good. We saw Jay Ward look good. They bring in Seven Banks. They bring in some recruits. Including one that we like a lot from Lafayette Christian and others. But certainly there are a lot of questions. But, man, when you look and dive into last year, it's amazing that LSU was able to go 6-6. And I think the one thing that nationally people don't say enough, LSU had 21 consecutive years of a non-losing season. Nobody had that stretch since 2000. Saban started in 2000. They did not have a losing season until last year. 21 seasons, and that's what was so bad about that silly-ass bowl game. You lost to a putrid Kansas State team that you would normally hammer, and you lost that little.
You believe the report that they actually wanted to get out of it in the SEC?
I don't know.
Because they had gotten out of it the year before.
I don't know. I know this. That team you saw against Kansas State and that team you saw against each other in the spring game should look appreciably better in 4 weeks. Once they start camp, I'm talking.
Absolutely. Mark Chambers, long overdue Pistol Pete statue. What'd you think of it? I know some people wish that he would have been in a shooting motion, but I thought it was a pretty darn good look at him. Had the hair right, ball right here behind his back. I think they did a good job.
Well, a lot of people certainly feel like it is long overdue. Politics in this state, it got approved 6 years ago. It took them 6 years to get it. Head coach John Brady does a great job. The former the former head coach who is now kind of like an assistant on the bench with Chris Bray. I think they do a great job calling basketball.
I think Brady absolutely is. I'll say it. I think he is absolutely LSU's best radio guy, period. Whether it's color, play-by-play, I think he's the best.
But he said today on the show, Jason and Josh were the reasons. They chose that pose. And, of course, Pete was way ahead of his time, anybody that followed him. But JB and I had a lot of fun. But they were the reasons that you had the behind-the-back sculpture.
I like it. And then they gave the mom a nice looking. That looked
Jackie, very classy.
That looked like the size of a Heisman.
Yeah.
In fact, the shape of it was the way you hold a Heisman.
Simone Augustus is next, and we know that moving forward there will be others, I think.
Now they retired Simone, but are they
They're going to do a statue for her.
Who do you think should be first, her or Chris Jackson?
Well, I had a guy text me today, and he says, "Where's Joe Burrow's all of this?" It's a little early for Joe Burrow, but hey, look, it takes time. We're in Louisiana, man.
Whatever the first date is for Joe, whatever the rules are, if there are rules, I don't even know if there are anymore. It used to be you had to graduate, but no slight against Simone Augustus, but Chris Jackson, man. I don't know. During that stretch, there's a lot of guys, particularly in my age, that if you want to talk about Chris Jackson or Shaq, Chris Jackson was the guy, not Shaq.
Well, I keep saying it, and I know Kim Mulkey
Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
But she loves that publicity Rouge got today because it's good for LSU women's baskets. I'm going to predict it here on this, 27th day of July. You will go to a men's game this year in the PMAC and a women's game in the PMAC, and it will be sellouts. Kim Mulkey will have a sellout this year, and I believe Matt McMahon will have a sellout. You can kick Will Wade a lot of ways about why he did this or that, but he brought back interest, passion, and that fire and the students. I think Matt McMahon, we talked to Coach Brady about this, everybody you talk to quietly going about his business. It's going to be happening in the PMAC this year.
I think because of my age, obviously I miss Pete.
Yeah.
But until Joe Burrow showed up and you would have said who was my number one male athlete in my lifetime, it was Chris Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyrann Mathieu might be second. In fact, I could probably debate those two, but I'll go Chris Jackson, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Yeah.
And then Joe Burrow shows up and shatters them all. But so when you want to start talking about, you better start making some room for some. And look, you can have them all lined up. You could. I'm sure they got it figured out. I mean, Tiger Stadium has a big footprint. You could have them circle the whole stadium over next 150 years.
Well, my point though is I do think starting this fall, you are going to see LSU appreciably better in football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and baseball. Once again, Jay Johnson just knocking it out the park. And congratulations to Will Campbell today, as you sent me something. Did something with Wally McMakin. Of course, Wally McMakin, former LSU third baseman many years ago, big part of Skip Bertman and Bob Broadhead and all those old-timer baseballers. And you know what? Will should have had a deal with Rouse's all along. I still would have loved the commercial with Will and his mama eating that Campbell's soup, man. And look, This is going to be interesting to see this highway that we're riding on. I mean, you've got NIL still out of control. You've got all these expansion talks. You've got the transfer portal. And then, of course, you got the start of the camps. And so it's a lot to cover, Mike.
Christian, thank you very much for the super chat. He says LSU beats Bama. That's his gut feeling.
Would love that. And once again, that will probably be the most valuable ticket of the season in Tiger Stadium, right?
Yeah.
Tennessee's going to be a big game, but come on, man. LSU-Bama is where people who are having a tough time financially.
I mean, Tennessee's going to be a big one.
Ole Miss is big with Kiffin, and of course Alabama. So,
Kiffin has made it so Ole Miss is actually a game that you look forward to now.
No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
He said something a lot of people disagree with, and I don't think you can do this because of the legal aspect of it. He wants a salary cap with NIL, and of course, once you open Pandora's box up, it's hard to try to tell somebody you've got a limit. You can't have more than that because it's a crazy scenario.
Dane Bergeron, Ben McDonald was a better athlete than Chris Jackson in that time frame. No way. No way.
It's hard.
Thank you for the super chat, Dane, but no, but no way.
Well, wait now, hold on. Ben he started in baseball, was a great baseball player, Golden Spikes winner, and of course did play on Dale Brown's basketball team as a reserve. Great athlete. Chris Jackson was incredible.
On the cover of Sports Illustrated, which back in the day,
there's no doubt,
had a viewership of 1 billion.
Yeah. Well, look. But that's the problem when you get into all these lists. I saw something the other day. You want to hear something? Who was better, Tyrann Mathieu or Tommy Casanova? Who was better?
And by the way, baseball had not really arrived yet. He was on its way.
Well, they were building.
Right.
But Joe Burrow, Burt Jones. Okay, you can go on and on about the greats.
Yeah.
Todd Walker. Greatest hitter statistically. But look at Eddie Furnace and all of them. I mean, there's a reason that it takes a while for your number or.
Now you brought that up. You got me thinking. Joe Burrow, Burt Jones. Who in between would be in the next Hodson?
Yeah, I think Tommy Hodson would be there. But then again, look.
And I've often thought if you said, okay, who do you want in one game, Hodson or Rohan Davey? I might take Davey.
Well, Rowe was a gamer. There's no doubt.
Let's see.
By the way, did some research on the defensive line, Mike. LSU was represented on the All-SEC team by B.J. Ojolari on the first team, of course, Ali Gay on the second team. And, you talk about Mason Smith being on the third team. Jaqueline Roy was on the one of the Outland Award list today. But I looked at the stats, and this is a lot of potential. You're going to be surprised when I give you some numbers on the D-line. Would you agree that going into camp is probably the deepest and most talented position?
And again, I think when you look at the defensive backs, I think they're going to be aided by B.J. Ojolari and Ali Gay being able to get some edge rush. That's one of the things corners and DBs will tell you. If you've got a pass rush, that's a part of their coverage. So.
I guarantee you, Brian Kelly will say at some point, guys, we got to have more takeaways. Incredible. And I know last year is hard to measure because of the bowl game and at the end. LSU only had 13 takeaways all year long. They played in 13 games, had 13 takeaways, 8 INTs, and recovered 5 fumbles. That's not even close to what you're looking for. When your turnover ratio is a plus 20, so you have 15 turnovers. You ought to have 35 takeaways. Those are the championship numbers. Mike, 13 takeaways. I guarantee you Matt House is going to be going after the football.
Yes. Nurse Court says Sam Pittman is a great football coach. Of course, we got an Arkansas fan here causing trouble, and that's why she's saying that. And the Arkansas fan's name is Johnny Jones. Well, that's not the former LSU basketball coach that was a waste of time. But a different Johnny Jones.
But isn't it fun, LSU fans, isn't it fun during the summer? And I know Danny Gurrow and Nurse and Edo and all the rest of them that get into all these group chats. Isn't it fun when you get in these chats and an Arkansas fan wants to pick a fight with you? And then how about the Florida? Oh, Napier's going to be better than Brian Kelly. Oh, man, Lane Kiffin, he's going to beat your butt this year. Oh, what about Tennessee? Boy,
they all have good coaches.
Everybody is talking smack, and so the LSU fan is going like, hey, come on, hold on. Folks, I brought some props tonight. You see this right here? That is a championship hat. We get them free when we go to these games, but that is the first goal that, we talked about winning 10 games and beating a top 10 team. And it's not something you talk about, but Nick Saban in year 2 lifted up a championship hat. That is when you play in that game and you start beating Alabama and you're competing with Georgia in the championship game, that's what you aspire to, because that's what LSU fans want to basically hold their hat on. But, Mike, it's going to take a couple years to get to that point, I think.
Yeah.
Being realistic.
Yeah. SEC football coaches, take Brian Kelly out of it. Which one would you want to play for?
Well, I'd be a water boy on any of them, so I'd like to talk.
I think it'd be Pittman.
Pittman is as genuine and down to earth.
I love that dude.
The question about Arkansas, and this is what I tell all my Arkansas fans and friends, are you going to ever have defense comparable to the offense? Now, KJ is a hell of a quarterback, and he told the people at the SEC, hey, man, I think I'm as good as any SEC quarterback. And Hooker's coming in from Tennessee. They're pumping him up. And look, who LSU has at quarterback and how they're going to look, nobody knows right now. I think when you cut up this LSU team, they're going to be in better shape. They're going to be smarter. They're going to be more disciplined. The question is, at what point do they get a little momentum and steamroll? We talked about it. They could open up 4-2. You lose to Florida State and Mississippi State early, and you 2-2. A lot of airs left out already in this first year.
Absolutely. Nurse Court with a super chat. She says, "Go on and tell this Arky fan we'll see him, y'all." Thank you for that, Nurse Court. Yeah.
Arkansas beat LSU in overtime last year, Mike, and Sam Pittman. They feel good about their team, but once again, I will say this now. Arkansas is a tough place to play for LSU because the fans can't get there. It's hard to get there with the travel, and they usually you're playing them late with some bad weather and wind and ice and snow and, inclement weather. You're seeing LSU in the purple stockings. So, I would, in answer to your question, I don't know who I'd rather play. I guess if I was offense, I'd like to play with Kiffin. If I was defense, I'd like to play with Saban or Kirby Smart.
Maybe it's not that. That would be dependent. But
you're talking about fun or
just just likable guys that you even though they're in the same division, you like seeing a guy who had made his way to getting a head job the way Pittman did at Arkansas, and of course it was great watching him beat Texas. Anytime you see the Longhorns lose, that's awesome. But, Bayou Bingo, I agree totally. I was born in '73, and the most special athlete at LSU I have ever seen is Chris Jackson. He was super special. Yep. Bayou Bingo, most guys of your age, our age, feel the same way. And then Joe Burrow and Tyrann Mathieu, and then maybe the next tier down you start getting into Fournette and guys like that. But, of course, Kevin Falk. But I would put that's next tier down for me.
Yeah. Look, it goes in cycles. As we know, baseball was irrelevant until Skip came over here. And,
and maybe if Jamar Chase would have had one more year that was like that.
Yeah, he just – But look, bottom line is there's a lot of rep going on Sundays. And Mike has got 2 tickets for anybody that wins the contest this year for Cincinnati coming in to play the Saints. By the way, Mike Thomas back today at practice. Saints opened up practice today.
That's the tough ticket. Bengals Saints, not LSU Alabama.
And of course, Joe Burrow got the appendix out.
I've been staking flags for Saints Bengals tickets since last year, and then there were the rumors that was going to be the London game and all that stuff.
No,
thank God.
Going to be a fun football season.
Do you believe that it's true that the Saints wanted that to go to London because they knew that there's going to be a lot of LSU
No,
fans.
no. You kidding?
I'm told they didn't want it.
They didn't want to go that game to London. No.
They did, because they don't want all the LSU fans there pulling for the Bengals.
No, I don't believe that for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Look, man, anytime you have a matchup like that, they
didn't want it.
Well, I just don't think they'd want to play Cincinnati in London.
Okay, guys, let me scroll through here. But first, we need to hear from our title sponsor. And, of course, we're here each and every week, thanks to the fine folks at Pride Roofing.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle, and metal inventory. We got it.
Property still in disarray from the recent hurricanes and hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. So you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait, and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla Espanol.
And there you have it. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, Pride Roofing. Of course, Mike Faraday, a Broadmoor High, LSU grad, and they're based right there in Albany, Louisiana. Stop in their shop on Florida Boulevard. Say hello. And as always, they're still running that promo, and they're going to run it forever. Call them at 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about it on TigerBait. And with your free roof inspection, whether it's residential or commercial, they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium free for a year, and added some new riders earlier today. Got some recruiting updates, more coming your way. And so you're going to want to be a part of TigerBait, and they're going to help you get there if you also happen to need a free roof inspection. So give Pride Roofing a call, 855-PRIDE-16.
Of course, they had the big acquisition with Crown Metals. Speaking of that, I would imagine these guys on the roof. I had Mike on the radio show last week, and we were talking about just how dangerous it is when you get on these roofs, and it is 106, 110 heat index. I would imagine up there it's 115 or 120. But, folks, ever since they had Crown Metals, the whole ball of wax has changed. They are doing a fantastic job. Once again, in Baton Rouge, 275-2041. Miss Tammy, Miss Yessie, great people. They will sharpen the pencil. Don't let $100 or $200 get in the way. They want your business. And here's the great thing about this sponsor. That's what you're going to be seeing all year long with your LSU team. You're going to take great pride, even though you're getting sand kicked up on your towel right now. They're likable. They're professionals. And you will take great pride. And trust me, PFN and many others, you go through these storms, tropical storms and hurricanes, do business with somebody that's going to do it the right way.
Our good friend American Patriot with a super chat. Great show as always. Don't forget to hit the like button. It helps the show. Absolutely, American Patriot. Thank you for that as always. And again, hit the like button if you're watching us on YouTube, subscription button, notification bell. Football season is here. We're going to be loading loads of free content there. More shows. Preston's show gets cranked up at the beginning of the month of August next week. I'm not sure what day he's going to go. It might be Monday night next week.
He's going next week?
Yeah, I think it'll be.
Okay, cool.
Yep, so we'll see how that goes. Or maybe he might wait till the following week after fall camp starts. We'll see.
I found some 367 gas. And, of course, as everybody knows out there, that's good stuff. Good gas for 367. You get there quickly. But ran into Preston's dad. Really classy guy. And so, once again, Preston, I know a lot of people looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table. But got a question for American Patriot, stat-wise. He gave you the super chats. What do you think LSU converted on third down last year on offense? Third down.
30%?
37%. Their defense gave up 40%. 4 out of 10 every game on average, the defense converted on third downs. Another thing, Matt
I want to know
House,
on how many third and shorts they couldn't get running the ball.
Well, but I'm just saying, Matt House and that's a question I have for you. How much film do you look back next year from last year and sink your teeth into? You know, Jaquelin Roy, folks, only started one game last year. Shocked me. But B.J. Ojolari and Ali Gay, of course, and Mason, all with the early preseason honors, that D-line, if they can pin their ears back and get after the quarterback and let Matt House do some things, but how exciting is that to try and figure out how aggressive they're going to be on both offense and defense?
Yeah, I really, you look at the All-SEC team, and of course you've got Ojulari and Mason Smith and Ali Gay.
And Kayshawn, of course, on offense.
Yeah, but it would be really good so you've got two guys on the edge, and you got Mason Smith there. And Jaquelin Roy told me back in June when I talked to him, this is my money year. Mm-hmm. So he's motivated. Jacoby and Guillory, we're waiting to see what he can do up the middle. So, I mean, they've got some bodies there. Savion Jones, is he ready to step up and come in and where they can rotate guys and have fresh ends? Does Quincy, does he give you a little something when you need to rush the passer and it's an obvious passing down? You can do some unique things where all of a sudden you've got like 4 defensive ends there lined up on the line on a 3rd and 8 or whatever.
And Makai Wingo, folks, do not sleep on 92. He's from Missouri, had a relationship. Hey, we saw Jamar Cain, what he did recruiting. Now it is going to be interesting to see when he gets his hands on these guys and shapes and molds them and the way they want to play. But as I went into a deep dive with the stats and all, I just think you're going to be a lot more aggressive at the line of scrimmage. And as we know, Tiger fans are chomping at the bit, Mike, to see that defense. Mississippi State comes in. You know the last time they came into Tiger Stadium, what they did to Bo Pelini and that LSU defense? It was embarrassing. So
where is Pelini now? Golfing?
He's playing golf with his LSU money.
Stephen Cubbett with a super chat. Thank you, Stephen. Have we heard anything about the baseball draft prospects coming to LSU? Buddy?
Yeah, Brian's got an extensive article on that. If you're not a member of TigerBait, you can tell him to get that. Look, Gavin Dugas said he was back today, and they have done a really, really good job. They're waiting on a couple more players. But I didn't bring the baseball info tonight because we're kind of getting into football. But Jay Johnson has just done a fantastic job with the addition of coaches as well as retaining players. Certainly, when you have the kind of number one recruiting class, you're going to lose. I want to say the number was 11 or 12 with LSU players, recruits, and JC players that they lost. They got a ton coming in.
It's you mentioned Brian's report, and this is another discussion that we're going to wait to see how it pans out. But Brian's column on Monday was comparing the Saban coming in at this juncture, and there are some similarities.
Yeah, I told you that. I agree.
And so right, what do you think right now, without seeing how it plays out? Who do you think inherited a better roster? Saban from DiNardo or Kelly from Orgeron?
Well, the problem with that question is that
I think right now Saban got a better roster from DiNardo.
Absolutely. But look what Brian Kelly had to do with the transfer portal. People, this is why we're saying that we don't know how good Fouché and Brooks and Jed Bernard Converse and Evan Banks and Makai Garner and Makai Wingo and all these guys that are coming in, we don't know how good they are.
Yep.
We don't know how good the offensive
But the
line
initial roster.
Well,
and there was no transfer portal back
well,
then.
that's what I'm saying. No transfer
I mean, you're
portal,
moving
so
Kyle
it's
Kipps
apples and
from
oranges.
tight end to defensive end and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
man,
no doubt that Saban. But this is the fun part of the rebuild with the
Yep.
transfer portal and NIL.
and I think that story will really. You can have an opinion on it right now, but I think it'll be told in December.
A lot of similarities, and this coach is very similar to Nick.
Because I think there are some guys that aren't on that All SEC team list that are going to be there.
I agree 100%. Some real sleepers.
Absolutely, and I think particularly on the offensive side of the ball.
By the way, LSU gave up 38 sacks, and they had 38 sacks. Mike, LSU only had 9 rushing touchdowns and averaged 3.3 yards per carry. I'm giving these stats because I expect all of this to be appreciably different this year.
Rick Cloetti says, I think the linebacker core will surprise some people this year. I think he thinks the linebackers are going to surprise people.
Well, they've got a bunch of them.
Yeah, they do.
Mike Jones and Greg Penn and Micah Baskerville, I think, are the three.
I really like Mike Jones.
I do too.
And he's a great interview. And I think he's absolutely another guy who's loving it here. Mm-hmm. Let's see what we got now.
Harold Perkins, by the way, in case you missed it, changed his number to number 10. He is listed at 6'2", 220. Hey, where do you think Harold Perkins lines up at the start of fall drills?
What linebacker spot?
Well, yeah, and I mean, you know, what's their role? How do you think they...
I mean, look, there's some people in Texas that think he's a better running back than a linebacker.
That's what I was broaching on.
I mean,
so
you can look at his film as a running back. I mean, he's kind of, so you immediately think Devin White, because Devin White had that decision.
Well, Devin White was a little closer to 240.
I mean, when I first started covering Devin White, he was a running back.
But my point is that there are a lot of
played both ways,
you know.
But I remember that camp that summer, one of the camp series, and you know, it was starting to be brokered about him moving to linebacker, and he had gotten talked into it.
Yeah.
But he could have easily have been a big time running back.
Oh, by the way, one of the things I keep talking about, Mike, is who is going to be your kickers. Now, Jay Bramblett is the punter coming over from
already on the Ray Guy list.
And he was on the Ray Guy list. He's going to do a good job. He's also going to be the holder on PATs and field goals. Slade Roy is right now scheduled to be the snapper. We don't know. I'm sure there'll be competition there. A.V. Atkins. This is the greatest kickoff guy in LSU history, in my opinion. Got to replace him. Excuse me. Cade York, by the way, a perfect 42 for 42 with PATs. They didn't miss a PAT with Cade York last year and made 15 of 18. And I think when he made that 57-yarder in the fog against Florida, that kind of gave him the onus of, you know what, I can graduate and go get money. How cool is that, getting picked in a pretty early round for a kicker? I hate that he went to Cleveland and have to play up there. But special teams, Mike, LSU averaged 5.2 yards per punt return.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Terrible. Got to get better and all that.
I had this discussion this morning, but I'm a spin off of it. Which LSU coordinator or position coach has the most stress? Because I tell you what, the one thing you can say about what was inherited and there was one thing that was really good even when it was bad, and that was special teams. Mm-hmm. You know, does Polian have any pressure on him?
Oh, okay, I see where you're going. Well, look, but I'm saying they got to get better in punt returns. Five yards of return is not the heyday of Kevin Falk, Patrick Peterson, the Honey Badger, and the great ones.
But they were also really going for the receiving it and not messing up.
Ball security, but yeah. I think LSU will be better in the return game. Now, here's the kicker. LSU walked off Auburn a couple of years ago with a guy that everybody loved, and York made all those big kicks. Dude, what do you think? You're playing Mississippi State, Tennessee, or whatever? Who's going to be kicking the 45-yarder to win the field goal, to win the game or lose the game? This is the kind of stuff that time will give us answers there.
Rick Cloetti, does Harold Perkins see the field much? Hard to keep him off.
Special teams for sure, but who's going to get him first, Mike? What spot on the defense is he going to look at first?
How much can he pick up? How much can he grasp? Obviously, he wasn't there for spring football. Even though he was rated number 1 overall player in the state of Texas, most of the recruiting guys in fact, several recruiting guys that I talk to often probably saw him play at least once a month because of where he was, his high school. And most of them thought, as good as he was, and even though he was the number 1 player, that he might need a red shirt.
Well, and he didn't have a lot of stats on defense.
Yeah.
He only had like 39 tackles.
To learn the position, but there's no denying his ability. I mean, his athleticism. and
Will
his size
Campbell
and-
listed at 6'6", 3 1/4. In case you missed it, Emory, big number 50. Emory Jones is coming in at 335. Tremont Shorts at left guard. Once again, center we don't know. Miles Frazier at right guard. Battle with Cam Wire and Marcus Dumaville, who's now over 300. Once again, interesting to see. And you know Brian Kelly and all these coaches, they'll tell you, gotta build the foundation at the line of scrimmage. So if you could, just give everybody a little update on Brad Davis and some of the people kind of worrying that he doesn't have as many verbals. Is Hurd and Adams and others going to fall into place in due time?
I think LSU's in great shape with both of those. Reached out to Caden Jones at De La Salle. He's not coming this weekend, so but I think LSU's in a great spot with both of those guys, Tyree Adams and Lance Hurd. So, I really like the offensive lineman at Dutchtown that's committed to Purdue. Is that somebody that they look at in the fall? And then they go in the portal and get another couple of guys to add to whatever the high school haul ends up being. I think T.J. Shanahan ends up at A&M, along with Basontis, who went down to A&M this past weekend.
DJ Chester, you like that kid from Georgia? Possible?
Possible. We'll see.
Well, 4 or 5, and here's the other question for Brian Kelly, Mike. How many are you going to sign with unlimited numbers this year as long as you don't exceed 85? And I got to ask the question, whatever happened with the last 2? Do you carry those over?
Carry them over, because now you're going to 85.
Yeah, right. So they could sign as many as 35 players next year, folks.
What are they at, 77 right now?
I don't know what the actual roster is, but they signed 30 last year with the transfer portal and recruits.
Yep. AYS Sports, hashtag our buddy Blake Ruffino, hashtag Ask Buddy, do you wear Puma for the Cougars? You're wearing a Puma shirt. Are you wearing it for the Cougars?
Well, no, I am not. I am supporting Greystone. They were one of my NIL deals tonight, and I'm wearing the Pride Roofing. But look, man, I need to get hooked up with all of those gummies and everything else. I tell you what, those guys have a lot of fun with Spaces and the chats. And,
Is that why those things go off the rails?
No, all kidding aside, can you imagine, though, the number of conversations people have? The youth people are saying, we buying everybody, and USC is thinking that Lincoln Riley's going to come in on his Lincoln and take the Big Ten by storm. And then all the other fan bases like Arkansas, Tennessee, A&M, Ole Miss, even Mississippi State. I just love the fact that people are still so heavily involved, and we hope that moving forward it isn't too much like the pros to where you lose a little bit of that loyalty, because it's changing so fast now. You start to get to 20-plus teams in these super conferences. I don't know if I'm going to like that.
I think once the season starts, and look, all of the flashy stuff and all the stuff on Twitter and all that don't mean nothing when they're out there at the end of next week and it's 110-degree heat index. It don't matter that you got a F-150 Raptor out in the parking lot that's paid for. You better be ready to play. And so all that, I think all that stuff that is consumed all of us in the off season, I think that ends next week.
But TV and that TV contract, those contracts, Mike, this is going to dictate a lot of what happens moving forward.
Yep. Who's your punt returner? Chris Hilton? Ron Hearns wants to know.
I think right now I had the notes on this. Malik Neighbors was back there. Armani Goodwin was back there. Chris Hilton was back there. And I'm sure they've got
Jure?
Jack Besh actually has caught some punts, but just because ball security. But look, kickoff return. Trey Bradford's got a chance to do something there. This is the fun part about seeing who's going to be in the return game.
American Patriot with another super chat. Thank you. LSU missed out on a great kicker, Ascension Episcopal kicker Peyton Woodring. He won All-American MVP this weekend.
Where's he going?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't follow him.
Nathan Dybert is coming in. He's a true freshman, and they have a grad transfer, Trey Finnison, who is also in the mix. And we got to wait to see before Polian would not really tell us a whole lot. I wrote down some numbers and have them in my notes on spring, but I think all that's a work in progress right now as far as who's going to be the gunners and who's going to be on special teams and who's going to be in the return game.
I blocked this porn site guy how many times now? These guys are like roaches. You don't see Buddy don't see what I'm seeing on my screen, but I'm trying to get to them, guys. I know they're littering up the.
Well, look, take a page from Hugh. Freeze them out.
Yep. Guys, do me a favor. Of course, we always want you to hit the like button and share, but also go to TigerBait and subscribe. Try us out for $1. Starting next week, you get our practice reports, our video, our photo galleries, all our tidbits. You're going to get our newsletters, our breaking news sent to your cell phone via text alerts. We've got it all for you at TigerBait.com. A lot of recruiting stuff happening, and we've got our whole fall season mapped out where we're going to be in high school stadiums all over the state of Louisiana every Friday night out seeing the recruits at LSU's after for 23, 24, 25, the little running back from St. Martin's Episcopal. Boy, you want to talk about somebody that, I watched this film, and I'm telling you, with 2 plays, I thought I was seeing Joe McKnight all over again. He looked exactly like Joe McKnight again. So he gets the offer earlier this week. So we got a lot happening in LSU recruiting, and we want to have you as a subscriber to TigerBait.
And we still are working on the early details of having a function and get together. Look, it might be a conglomeration of different shows with the internet, the TV, and the whole 9 yards, but really exciting times. Now, I did talk to one of my sponsors, and they were buying tickets for $275 up into the Superdome. You and Preston, real quick, you going to that game, or did you decide what you're going to do on post-game?
Me, him, and Brian are going to be there, and we're going to see how we do. 6:30 kickoff. That means what? About a 10:30 game in, 10 o'clock game in, right? 10 o'clock.
And then press time.
I think we'll go live, and we're going to do it live from there.
And then second week, of course, is LSU Southern, going to be a fantastic happening, and it will be something that people talk about. Going to be great.
I think that is going to be epic. I think
that could be the game where we may try to get together, or we may try to get together with people.
I just think that's going to be fun.
I got to meet Snake and Tiger Shark and American Patriot and all those guys. It's
what would be the attendance for that? You're going to go 95?
LSU Southern? Oh, well, they never give you actual.
I think that's going to be sold out.
I think it's going to be a sellout too.
And
but actual, who knows?
So let's say it is a sellout, and you have 103 actually there. How many will be in their seats at halftime?
Well, it's not going to be like Garth Brooks when you had all of them stay to the last note.
They're not getting up at halftime.
Oh, by the way, JD, Jacques
and who's playing neck?
Did you see what Jacques posted? Man, the LSU football field looks like a beauty. Go look and see JD posted on that. I am always worried when you had the Country Music Fest and all that. I guess they had that in the contract with Garth Brooks that, you're going to buy us a new field, a new turf. And, man, it looks green. It looks plush. I can't wait to see that puppy because when I was growing up, Mike, LSU had one of the best grass fields ever. And I want to see it plush and green. And I don't want to see divots coming up when there's a rainstorm 15 minutes before
When was the last
kickoff.
time LSU? I mean, it's been, 15, 20 years since LSU had field problems.
Yeah, well, sometimes they spend a lot of money on the drainage, but I'm telling you, that puppy looks ready to go. You and I mentioned this last week. I do hope that Brian Kelly considers it for next year. I just think it's right now to bring back Media Day and Fan Day.
I'd like to know how many tons that Garth Brooks, that big gondola.
Oh,
I'd like to know how many tons that was when it was all set up, and then seeing what the field looked like afterwards, where that rested.
Well, it looks fantastic right now, and it's still got 6 weeks before the home opener.
Let's see, guys. All right, I think that's it, man. Thanks to all of you guys participating. We'll be back here next week. Go to TigerBait, subscribe. Choose the annual package. You save money versus the monthly. We really want to have you as a part of our TigerBait community. I'm on the message boards day and night, and we're going to be running 7 days a week now. It's here, so we're awfully excited at TigerBait, and we're going to be bringing you a lot of content for free right here on YouTube and on our Facebook channel. So be sure to subscribe, hit the like buttons, and the whole 9 yards, and we'll be back here next week. Good night.